Hello and greetings to all of you out there at the Concept Bold Summit. My name is Kozma, and I am super excited to be invited to be one of your virtual keynote speakers. I wanted to share just a little bit about me so you know who I am. I have spent the last 20 years in education, and that time has been divided up between time in the classroom as a first grade teacher. I spent 4 years supporting kindergarten through 8th grade educators in my school district as a technology innovation TOSA. And I currently work at Team Flipgrid at Microsoft as an educator innovation lead. And I love to describe my job as a teacher helping teachers. But I'm trying something new today, and I'm doing this entire keynote inside of Flipgrid. And if you're ready, let's go. I have a few goals for how I'd like to spend this next little bit of time together. First, I'm going to start by sharing some lessons that I've learned along the way. We'll also explore some new possibilities that directly impact teaching and learning and our mindset and how we approach that. And of course, I hope this inspires and encourages you. I love being a teacher helping teachers and cheering you all on along the way. Teachers every day bring the heart and hustle, and I want to start by saying thank you for all you do to empower your learning community. So now, are you really ready? Here we go. Now, I mentioned that I am a former first grade teacher, and it was during my time in the classroom that I experienced one of the biggest, most transformational lessons of all, and it really truly changed the way I taught and the way my students learned. It was in 2010 that my school went one-to-one with the very first generation of iPod Touch. That device did not have a camera, so we could not take pictures, we could not take videos, but I do remember we plugged in these teeny tiny microphones, and student voice came to life in brand new ways in my classroom. We started fairly simple by letting students record themselves reading, but really truly it allowed me to help them as they developed oral language fluency, reading skills. And the really cool thing is they began to create. They saw themselves and owned their learning in completely new ways. I was happy because motivation went up, engagement went up, and we were having fun. But it was this time I began to think, what else could change as my students create and own their learning in a completely new way? At the same time this was happening in my classroom, I was learning some other pretty big lessons. I went to my first big state technology conference and heard the keynote speaker, Marco Torres, say these 3 words: quit, complain, and innovate. And those words struck me. Teaching is a hard job sometimes. I mean, a lot of the time. But I couldn't quit my job. Needed to pay my bills. And I thought, what good does it do me when I complain? It just perpetuates a cycle that I don't get out of. So I chose to innovate. And that really helped me think about how I could use technology or explore outside the box ways to impact my teaching, but really truly transform student learning. And a short while later, I had the opportunity to attend my first ISTE conference, where I heard 3 more words that completely challenged me: explore, share, contribute. And that's what I began to do as I explored new possibilities for ways to innovate inside my classroom. And I began to share those ideas and contribute to the bigger conversations, both on my campus, in my district, in my state, and as a connected educator on social media. These 3 words drive what I try and do as a teacher helping teachers: explore, share, contribute. And I want you to think about how maybe these 6 words, quit, complain, innovate, explore, share, contribute, transform your thinking or mindset in the work that you do. Please know I am not saying quit your job. I'm just asking you to consider how these words might impact you and the way you approach your job. That's what happened for me, and it was a good thought exercise to go through. So please hear me when I am saying, please don't quit your job. We need incredible teachers like you out there. As I was learning all of these lessons in my own journey as an educator, I began to think about and see my students in different ways. If you're familiar with the ISTE standards for students, you know that there are some awesome global guidelines of what we can do as educators to empower our students as empowered learners, digital citizens, knowledge constructors, innovative designers, computational thinkers, creative communicators, and global collaborators. If these ideas or concepts are new to you, I encourage you to dig in at iste.org/standards and kind of spend some time thinking about what you're learning today at the Concept Bold Summit, what your best practices are inside your classroom, the ways that you are engaging your students, and ask yourself, how can I use my own learning as an educator, my growth forward as a professional to really truly level up the way my students are engaging in their learning? Are they owning their journey? Are they motivated on the journey? Are they engaged in the journey? And I know this looks different right now during a global pandemic as everything has shifted. But we're lifelong learners ourselves. And as we grow forward, that's what we're modeling for our students too. So these lessons really truly impacted me. And there's one more lesson I'd like to share. So this other lesson that I want to share with you is a lesson from Netflix. Seriously. I was watching that show, Stranger Things, like many folks, and it was during season 2 that Gaten Matarazzo, who plays the character of Dustin, went into his local library and said this: I am on a curiosity voyage and I need my paddles to travel. These books are my paddles. I need my paddles. And this struck me. This was this really creative way to blast open the doors of curiosity and explore further. So, as a classroom educator, as a coach in my district, and in my role now, I want to help empower others to blast open those curiosity doors and try new things and not be afraid to try new things. And even now, at this unprecedented time in education where maybe we're thriving, or maybe we're struggling, or maybe we're wondering what in the world is going on and how do I do this? How do I take care of myself? How do I take care of my family? How do I teach my students? It is okay to not have all the answers. But as lifelong learners, we must continue forward. So the whole idea of a curiosity voyage for me meant a few things. For me, a curiosity voyage was all about pushing forward and opening my mind to new possibilities and watching. What are others doing? How can I learn? I was a visual learner. That's how I took it all in. It meant listening. It meant being open to new conversations or entering into that conversation myself. It meant trying new things and looking for those new opportunities. But really, truly, it meant exploring. Even if I didn't have all the answers, even if I didn't know how to do something, for me, exploring still continues to be about having fun and pushing all the buttons. Simply watching, listening, trying, and exploring. And as a lifelong learner, as an adult, as an educator, as a teacher helping teachers, all of that is related to learning, which brings us to new possibilities. When I think of new possibilities, I think of days like today. You're coming together for an incredible day of learning at this summit. Hopefully you have time to explore new tools, consider new possibilities, and my favorite part, push all the buttons. Really, listen to this. When I say push all the buttons, I mean push all the buttons. I think back to my time in the classroom where I received new technology, a power board, a smart board, one of those projection boards. I'm not even calling it the right thing right now, but I remember standing there wondering, what in the world do I do? And friends, even though I work for Flipgrid now, I knew all about Flipgrid for a year before I ever got around to playing with it and learning how to use it. But as soon as I did, I saw infinite possibilities. So when I say push all the buttons, what I'm really going for is a play to learn experience. And I believe so much in this because as educators, when we take on a play to learn experience, we experience something similar to our students. When we ask our students to try new things or use technology in a new way, but we've gone through that process first, not only can we heighten our awareness and develop a little bit of empathy, but we take on some new understanding. And that helps us as we teach, make connections, and empower our students to use the tools in meaningful, effective ways. So what do I mean by meaningful instruction? These are the things that just begin to transform everything. Things like building relationships. I've learned over time that everything comes back to relationships. Making community connections and possibly exploring how you could bridge school to home or home to school. And it's all mixed up and intertwined anyways these days. So how can we make that meaningful connection to support and empower our community? Additionally, what does it look like when we actually emphasize inclusivity and make learning accessible to all? And how do we celebrate culture and diversity and give space to honor and respect those diverse voices in our communities? Additionally, and I believe we have all learned this in so many powerful ways during 2020 and beyond, please always make space for social emotional learning. You never know what your students are bringing to the community every day. You never know what your colleagues are going through either. So these are all meaningful ways to reconsider or look at teaching and learning in new ways. And these examples of effective learning strategies are not necessarily on some famous list, but it's what I feel is important to consider. Setting goals and helping your students celebrate the process as they work towards achieving them. Seeking and sharing feedback and taking that time to reflect on growth over time. When we do that and when we help our students do that, man, that learning process and the learning journey comes alive in new ways. Helping our students make authentic connections to their learning and seeing the relevance and how it impacts their life is always an effective thing to do. And of course, how do we use technology and how do we help our students in this hyper-connected digital world make responsible and safe decisions to drive and own and share and celebrate and showcase and connect their learning? These are all great things to consider. So as we think about all kinds of possibilities, infinite possibilities, really, couple that with the wondering about what happens when we step out of our comfort zone. We know that the journey might not always be the easiest, but we all know when we do step out of our comfort zone, it's where the magic happens. So this day, at this Concept Bold Summit, I want to leave you with a few lasting thoughts. As you boldly go forward, as you learn your own lessons today, as you consider new perspectives and explore new possibilities, I want to remind you of a few last things. You are doing heroic work. I mean that when I say it. You are bringing the heart and hustle every single day to your learning community at a completely unprecedented time in education. And it's hard. I see that. I acknowledge that. And I just want to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you for doing what you are doing day in, day out to empower your students. And use today and this summit as a chance to lean in and learn on. It's okay not to know how to do everything. It's okay not to have all the answers. But as we model lifelong learning for our students, it's our responsibility to forge ahead and provide that safe space for our students to try new things because we already feel confident doing the same thing. So lean in and embrace it and learn on, because I bet you will surprise yourself and the incredible things that you will do. And so with that, I simply want to say thank you. Thank you for leaning in today with me, and thank you for learning on. Thank you for opening up your mind to new possibilities and exploring how that can transform teaching and learning in your learning community. I hope you have a fantastic day at the Concept Bold Summit. And before I leave you, I just want to invite you to get connected. If I can cheer you on or help you in any way, please feel free to reach out on social. You can find me at Kozma723 on all the platforms. Friends, thank you so much. I hope you have an awesome day.